I know all too well what it feels like to be female, right? To be a mom, to be a homemaker, to be the teacher sometimes, to take care of the house, to take care of the cooking and the grocery shopping, and the list goes on. I get it. I'm with you. If you're a woman and catching this live stream, I feel you. We have a list a mile long of things and expectations that we've set out for ourselves, and a lot of times we push beyond what we should, right? So, as a kid growing up, I want to share a little story before we get into the 3 reasons why women typically aren't taking good care of themselves. We're going to talk about those reasons, and I'm going to give you some solutions to that. But before we do, I want to share a little story. So as a kid growing up, the strongest female sort of in my life, beyond my mom, obviously I witnessed my mom and how she carried herself through the world and the things that she did, and super important to recognize that. But also the other big female influence in my life was my aunt, and she helped care for me when I was little. I spent weekends at her house as a teenager, and into my early 20s I lived with her, so really witnessed how she lived her life. And what I did witness was somebody who was extremely career-oriented, very driven, very dependable, right? Someone who could rely on, someone who was super focused and gave 110% to her career, at the expense of her health and her self-care. And so she was basically married to her work. And I know lots of women do that. Kids, no kids, whatever it is, we end up really just getting dialed into our work, and we get so uber focused. We forget to eat, healthy foods. We forget to eat at all, go through the whole day without eating. There's no time for exercise or self-care or other things than always focused about work and always being on, right? I watched my aunt, work late and didn't get home until very late, and then get up really early in the morning to start all over again, right? So she was up really late at night and maybe slept 5 hours, stayed in her office until all hours of the night, went to bed for 4 or 5 hours, got up and did it all over. And, just witnessing that, it was just a real big reflection for me going, is that really what's needed? Is that really what's needed for health? Is that we needed what's for success, right? There's various different things that go into that, and that I could pull from, but there's reasons we don't take care of ourselves. And I want to talk to you about that today. And that story just really illustrates, the disconnect between being a woman in the world and wanting to work and take care of things, and then also taking care of ourselves, right? We're our biggest asset. And when we don't take care of ourselves, it spills over into all the other areas of our life. Okay, and we don't do everything as well as we could. So one thing I want to share is there's 2 types of people that typically come to me for coaching. Okay, over all the years that I've been coaching, it's 13 plus years in the coaching industry, there's typically two types of women that come to me. So the first group come to me, and those are the ones that put everyone else's needs before their own. Okay, so they're helping everyone else out, and they forget about themselves, or if they've forgotten about themselves, they can't see a way out of that. They're stuck in that system of everyone before me, and now I have no time, and I don't know how to get out of that, right? They can't see a way out. And then the second group of people that come to me are the overachievers. They're the perfectionists. They've got multiple balls juggling in the air, and they're trying to do everything perfectly well. The key and the thread between both is burnout, right? Whether you are caring for others and not caring for yourself because you can't find the time, right? That's a big common thing, is the time. Don't have the energy, multiple different reasons why we don't. So not taking care of yourself for that, or you've got so much on the go and you're trying to manage it all perfectly and feel like nothing can falter because it'll all fall. Both of them lead to burnout. Okay, so what I coach, what I teach, what I encourage is simple, sustainable, balancing strategies where we can take a little bit of everything and put it all together and not feel like it's all going to fall apart if one day we falter on something. It's okay, right? There's no pass or fail. It's about making progress, okay? So today I want to share with you those 3 things, the reasons I believe that women don't take good care of themselves. So if you're new to me and my work, my name's Christy Ware. I'm a holistic health coach, speaker, and the author of Synergize Your Health, The 6 Elements for Greater Vitality and Joy. Okay, so we're going to chat about this. So as I said at the beginning, women are wearing multiple hats right now. We're feeling quite stressed out. We're trying to manage being a homemaker. We're trying to make everything nice at home, cooking the meals, cleaning the house, caring for the children if we're homeschooling. Maybe we're now suddenly became the teacher while still trying to work. I know women who are going through this, right? Trying to manage all the stuff, and the weekend comes and we crash. because there's no energy left in the tank and it feels like we can't figure out a way to get out of that. I get it. I'm with you. Okay? So these are the 3 reasons I believe. Reason number 1, why we're not taking better care of ourselves. The first big one is guilt. Okay? Guilt is a big one. Things that I've heard, I can't spend money on this because I have to take care of my kids first, right? It costs money to invest in me, so that's taking away from the family. Can't do that, right? Feel guilty about making time for me or something that I need, again, because it's taking away from my family or someone else's needs if I'm caring for others. Okay, these are things that come up. Money and time are 2 big ones. There's something that gets rolled into guilt is shame. Shame for asking for help. Shame for hiring a coach, a strategist, somebody to clean my floors and clean my toilet so that I can have more time with my family because it feels like I'm doing everything. Shame around ordering in meals from a healthy food service because I'm not making food from scratch, and now suddenly I feel guilty about that, right? So this stuff, a lot of it's wrapped up in our guilt and our shame around what we think we should be doing, the expectation that we hold for ourselves, this high standard. Right? And it gets wrapped up in feeling guilty that we should be able to do everything, but we're not. And what does that lead to us? Again, it leads to us feeling shameful, it leads to us judging ourselves, lots of internal self-talk that isn't great, right? I like to use the analogy, and many of us have not traveled in a long time, but if you've coached with me before, you know my work, you'll know this analogy is something I use often because it really illustrates what I'm getting at here. When you get on an airplane and the stewardess starts giving you all the instructions, she's telling you about the seatbelts and the exits and all the things, what is one of the things that she says? She tells us that we need to, if there's ever an oxygen deficit, we need to put on our mask before we put on our children's or our family members. Okay, so we need to care for us to make sure that we are in a good place to care for others. And if we can't do that, then we're no good to them. If we pass out for lack of oxygen, guess what? The kid doesn't do well either. But if we help ourselves first, not meaning we're being selfish, right? We're just stepping up and saying, guess what? In order to be a better parent, a better mother, a better sister, a better friend, a better worker, right? For your job, I need to care for me first, and so that I can be better for you. Okay? And there's no guilt and shame in that. That's a common myth that people have, especially women, right? So I encourage you to look at that analogy and see how that fits into your life. Are you filling your cup first to ensure that you are better for everyone else, including yourself? Okay? Flora's giving me the yup. Okay. Number 2, second reason I believe women don't take better care of themselves. Second thing, you're in a rut. I know people don't like words like I'm stuck or I'm in a rut. But guess what? It really illustrates, again, how we're feeling, what we're experiencing. Those words, people know them, right? When we say that, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So they're common, they're things you can relate to. So when we're feeling stuck, this past year has illustrated for many of us what it feels like to suddenly be paralyzed, to feel like we don't have control, to feel like we don't know what step to take first or even next because we're just so unsure. Okay, so feeling that could be because of the pandemic, could be loss of loved ones, could be stress of a job that you didn't know was maybe going to change, or suddenly your position was no longer available. There's lots of reasons why we become paralyzed and we become stuck and we feel like we can't move forward, right? We don't know what the next step is. Okay, so being stuck isn't something we want to stay in for a long time, but when we're there, it can be really scary, and then we don't do anything. And so really what I'm sharing here is when we have too many things happening, we're trying to do them all at once, or things happen outside of our control, we get into that feeling of being stuck, of being paralyzed. And I want to help you move past that, okay? We've all been there. I've been there myself. I get it. I feel it. If you're there right now, I want to help you. Okay, my third point on reasons I believe women don't take better care of themselves is because of lack of knowing. Am I speaking to intelligence? Not at all. Am I saying that you don't know things? Not at all. What I'm sharing is we don't know what we don't know. So sometimes we can learn from someone else. Maybe you can appreciate this. Maybe your mother said to you for years, it'd really be worthwhile to do this, or you should try this. And you never hear it, you never listen, you're listening, but you're not hearing it. And then someone else, maybe a friend or a colleague or a coach says to you, hey, you should really try this. And suddenly the light bulb goes on and say, I heard it in a different way from a different source, and suddenly it makes sense to me. I get it. That I can do that, right? And so that's what the lack of knowing is. We just don't know what we don't know. So that's where I come in, right? We need to find the strategies. We need to find the tools and the ways of living that work for us, right? And what we don't know, we have to seek out support for, myself included. I'm not a genius at everything. I know some things really well around health and well-being and strategizing and finding balance and staying consistent. I know those things. But there's things that I don't know. And my wife will attest to this. I'm not very techie. I had to run down before this live stream and say, how the heck do I get into my event? We created the event and now I can't find it. That's not my strong suit. So guess what? I seek out support and knowledge for things that I'm not good at. We all have things that we need support around. And it's not shameful. It's not nothing to feel guilt around. It doesn't mean you're less than. It doesn't mean you're less important or you can't do something. We just need to find the right support system and then we can do it, right? We can move forward. So that leads me into our next thing. You know, why making this shift right now is super important, okay? There's a few reasons why taking these 3 things that I shared, and they might be resonating for you. You might even have a few more that you've come up with to say, right, that's why I don't take good care of myself. You know, but when we don't do that, what example are we setting for our families? If you have young ones at home, right? What example are you setting? What example are you setting for yourself and your mind and your body if we're not caring for ourselves, right? Where's that, you know, how does that fit into the picture? What message are we giving to the universe? Oh, I can continue to do it all, and I'm going to do it all. Just keep packing it on, piling it on, right? Or I'm going to continue doing for others until I crash, and then maybe I'll care for me, right? These are the messages that get sent out. And we can only go on in that way for so long. And then eventually our bodies say, nope, we're not doing this anymore. Our minds say, nope, forget it, I'm shutting down, right? And that either leads to feeling depressed, feeling isolated, feeling many of the things people are feeling right now, right? Feeling paralyzed. So I want to help you change that. I want to take these 3 things and I want to shift them around. So if you are a woman that's craving change, if you are ready to make changes in your lifestyle and your health, I have just the thing for you. I have something specially that I designed just for you. It's called Synergize Your Health Group Program. I'm taking 10 women. So if this today spoke to you and you're like, yes, that's for me. I'm taking only 10 women. It's a small group. And basically, I'm going to take you from feeling mediocre to feeling magnificent. I'm going to take you from feeling burnt out to feeling brilliant. And I'm going to take you from feeling overwhelmed with life to feeling inspired again, to find yourself, to find your health. That's what the goal is. So it's a group program, runs from June to August. So it's 3 months. It's 12 coaching calls over those 3 months, and we dive into my 6 elements of health. We talk about rest. We talk about movement, connection, nutrition, mindfulness, and self-love. So every week, we're going to dive into how it's going to work is every other week. So 1 week's going to be coaching, where I'm basically giving you instructions, right? So those are the instructional calls. Let me rephrase that. So the instructional calls are where we're going to get the strategies. We're going to get the education. We're going to get the support that we need to make some changes, right? To make some changes around each of those elements, each of those 6 elements, right? So the instructional weeks are where we're getting the education. We're getting the knowledge. We're learning, right? What we want to implement, how we're going to do that. We're going to set some goals. We're going to make those really simple, sustainable changes so that they last, right? The lasting changes. That's what we're going to do on the first week of each element. And then the second week of each element is going to be the coaching week, where we're going to connect as a group. We're going to talk about what's working, what's not working. We're going to troubleshoot. We're going to do laser coaching on the spot of what you need support with. And the people that are in that group are going to lift you up and support you, right? That's the goal of that call. And then we're going to celebrate your wins, right? We're going to be there right along with you. So 12 weeks, 3 months, 12 calls around my 6 elements of health. And I guarantee you, walking away will change the way you have the way you look at life, the way you look at health, your perspective on what's needed to lift you up, to fill your cup. That is really the goal of the program. So I invite you to join me. Early bird pricing is only until this coming Sunday, May 17th. So I've got early bird pricing on. Like I said, limited amount of spots. So you can check out the information. There's a link above. You can check out for more information. If you have questions, concerns, yes, Christy, I want to do this. I have issues around paying in the payment system. Or, Christy, I don't know about the time commitment. What's that going to look like? What if I can't catch a call? Is there a replay available for me to watch? all of that information you'll find on that page, on the link above. And if there's still more questions or still more things you're wanting to know more about, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm happy to troubleshoot, happy to figure out how to make this work for you. If you've got these reasons and you're sitting with them going, I would like to take better care of myself, but I'm not, right? Whether it's guilt, or whether it's you're feeling stuck or in a rut, or whether it's feeling like the lack of knowing on what next step to take, please reach out to me. I'm happy to support you, happy to help you through it. Leave me a comment below, send me a private message, drop me an email, whatever you need to do, and I would be happy to chat with you further. So I hope this was helpful. Have an amazing day, and I look forward to seeing you in the Synergize Your Health group program. Thanks, everyone.